welcome to Farmhouse Fabrics. And I talked Michelle into joining me today.
For a little bit, we'll see.
Well, or the whole time. I'm actually standing on her foot so she can't leave. I do love to have somebody up here next to me, and she brought some things today that are really, really interesting too. So, yeah, you're a big part of what's going on here today, Michelle. So, for those of you who don't know, you have tuned into Farmhouse Fabrics, and this is called Gavin Gush. And it was going to be a Sally solo, but I'm so glad it's not. And
so y'all gab so we can gush about it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, definitely make your comments, and Emma will read them off to us and say hello and tell us where you're from. And we have a smorgasbord of things today, right?
Mm-hmm. We sure do. We have some kits. We have some things I've been working on. Some things Sally's been showing me how to do. And
you know, Michelle, are you willing to start with, because I think this is so interesting. You know, I often talk about Catherine from Bringing Sewing Back. I really do enjoy her Instagram and her stories. And she loves to go to Goodwill. She calls it Goodwilly, I think. And find sometimes interesting old sheets and things like that. And then she's made garments that are really, really cute. And so Michelle made herself a dress, but you found it where, Salvation Army or Goodwill or something like that? Curtain panels.
It was just a different thrift store. It
Yeah.
wasn't like a chain one or anything like that. But I wanted to make something for our little youth camp next week, and they're trying to dress like biblical times, and I wanted something linen, but I didn't really want to spend that much for a day, and I wasn't sure if the pattern if I would like it afterwards.
Pull out that pattern and show them what you have here.
I wanted to do this. You can see it good.
It looks really comfortable,
In the
Michelle.
dress version. It's Simplicity 8856, and they have the little top, mother-daughter, I guess, top, and you can do it in the dress version. I do have pockets cut out, but I didn't do it yet because I was trying to make it plain, and they probably didn't have all them.
Maybe they had an apron with a big gold
Yeah,
pockets
they
in it
probably
or
had an
something.
apron. So, I may add that later, and I might even try to embroider something on it.
Oh, wow. All right.
Don't tell Regina in case I mess up.
So Regina and Michelle are good buddies. And Regina has helped you a lot with things, hasn't she? Like, you can call Regina and say, hey, what's going on? How do I do this? What's happening?
Regina or Sally. I was like, hey, Sally.
I know, we talked about blind hemming today, and so then I did a sample. But Michelle found just two, right? Two curtain panels that look like linen, but they're cotton. And I think it's cute.
It was the tab. Little curtain, so you can see where, it was at this way, actually.
Yeah.
So I cut and had to let out the side little seams to get the full thing, But
that was a lot of fabric.
I know,
Michelle,
it's bigger than these cute little kid stuff, but this is
I like it.
My little dress.
And it looks very linen. My goodness.
I liked it because it did have that linen look.
Yeah.
It had this long panel in the front, which was different, but I was like, well, I was going to just do a straight because I didn't want to have
to mess with this.
But then I was like,
a little bit hard, right?
Yeah,
going in here
it's not perfect.
Corner.
So we're not going to zoom in on that.
That's all right. No, I like that. But then I think this is interesting. She was like, I'm not sure I want this so white.
Right.
So then here, I'm going
to
hang on to this.
Of
It's
like
right,
khaki colors.
It fell.
So I went and got some Rit dye, and I was testing it on some of my scraps. This is like, I had it soaking for a while. Maybe I didn't rinse it out real good. This was like 10 minutes in, and then I just for fun of it, I did it overnight because I wanted to see how dark it would get.
Right.
And that's overnight. So I think I may do it dye it this color.
I like it.
What do y'all think?
Yeah. Opinions.
Because I think this is too bright for like biblical times. I was trying to think of something also. You know how they have the little ties and stuff.
Oh,
you know,
right.
wear something around.
Yeah.
And maybe I should do that in the dark.
Oh, you
and
could
do this in the lighter.
Now that would be a good test. Do you remember what color that is that you?
It's tan.
Oh, it's tan. Okay.
Mhm.
Because it came out, you know, it has a little golden cast to it, doesn't it? So do you wet? Did you get that all wet first before you put that in?
I didn't.
Or that's
I just
why, that's
put
why,
it in the whole
that's
thing.
That's why you see
Okay,
those
that's why I
spots.
did that. Okay.
Yeah, because
Learn from me. Wet it first.
Yeah, you get it wet first, and then it'll soak up evenly when you put it in your water.
Okay, so
You get
that's
it wet
when I
first.
probably just. Okay.
Yeah.
So before I do this, I'm gonna wet the whole thing.
Yeah, definitely wet the
I'm
wet
glad
the whole
I
thing.
did a
Right,
sample.
Right. It is kind of interesting how it does absorb differently if it's dry.
I like this color part right here.
Me too. That's
Although it's probably not the best for my skin tone, but we're just gonna make it work for one day.
Yeah,
and
that's
see.
right. That's right. So
But-
don't be afraid to look for fabric in out of the way places, right? Because this is nice.
And so I paid $5.
Mhm.
They were marked $5 a panel, and they were half off.
Good.
So I made this whole thing. I had 2 panels. I made it. And it reminds me of I did bring our fabric down here because this is not Farmhouse, of course. Our fancies.
Oh, it does.
It reminds me a lot of the fancies.
This is by Speckler Vogel, and they're cotton, but they look like linen.
Lena. So we got all these pretty.
You know, Abby
Colors.
Wilkinson from Dress Them Dearly. Abby D. Wilkinson. I want to say B. She just ordered some of these, and she washed one to show what she was talking about in her story. But I like these, the fancies, and they do look like this.
And if I like it enough, I may do another one down the road.
Yeah. Listen, I'd
The
go
color
back.
I really like.
I'd go back. I'd go back to the thrift store and see what you could find for $5.
Well, I was really looking for a linen like tablecloth or something, and I couldn't
Right.
find it. And then I saw that, and I said, "Huh, well that might work."
Plus more fabric in curtain panels than in a tablecloth. I
Oh.
bet you. A lot more.
Probably.
Judy said perfect color looks like flax, which is appropriate for biblical time wear.
Yes, it does.
So I guess I'll be dyeing this
That's right.
weekend.
That's right. It's kind of fun. It's fun to do the dye-in. We did some back, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and Ella helped me. And it was just so neat to stick that fabric in there and then watch it change. I tried dyeing buttons, and I never could get the hang of that. That didn't work for me. But obviously people do it. But it wasn't good for me. So good.
So that was one of my little projects, and I just put out a scarf. I was trying to see how it would look, but I think I need to go darker on my
I like
dress.
that, but I do like the flax look. Now the other thing that Michelle has done, and these are very cute too. They have a house that they rent down at Myrtle Beach, and so she was wanting to do some pillows that would be simple and not expensive to put on the beds in the bedrooms, right?
Yeah, they come with. Normally we get quilts, so it's easier to wash, and they come with pillow shams. But I don't want to be washing and having to deal with that every week, so I just put a couple of decorative pillows on it, and so they were getting a little shabby. And
I'm gonna move this out of the way. So if we go to the overhead, it'll be for YouTube and Facebook. Instagram, I'm sorry, we can't get a good overhead, but show them what you did because you saw this done. This is cute.
it was just a little reel or something, you know. It'll pop up because they know I like sewing. They know everything about me.
Yeah, that's right.
And so you just get a square piece of fabric, whatever size you're going to use, and you fold it like that in half, triangular wise, and make you a little seam. I didn't know how much. I was just kind of testing it.
It looks like about
Like
a quarter of an inch.
inch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then fold it back the other way and do that. The only thing I did, like when I put the two right sides together, I just made sure these were going the same way.
Right. That the
So
fold was headless. Yeah.
I'm gonna trim some of that, but and then I just tried to
So I'm gonna
press
go because she wants opinions on. She's gonna put a decorative button in the center, and she found some cool vintage decorative buttons. So
yeah, I just like this because it was a little different than just a plain thing, and you know it didn't take that much time. So I went through our little drawers of some vintage buttons that I thought I could
yeah, flip
add
that
to
guy
the
around.
middle. Oh, it's that way.
Yeah, this is your shank back here.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
okay.
mhm.
Okay.
So that's
And that
pretty.
one, or
Let's see if we can get closer to it. Oh,
this
wrong
one?
way.
it's a little bit lighter. There's kind of a peachy color. This is
Yep.
going on my flamingo quilt
Oh, I could see that.
one. It has those colors. Then you have just the white. I looked for the turquoise. I couldn't find it. I didn't, but I did it at my mom's. They didn't have much beach material, which I was kind of
That is
surprised.
surprising.
But I did find these fat quarters, so I said, I'll get 4 fat quarters. So we got a white. I really like this green.
That's pretty. Looks
like
like a
a-
turtle. Looks like
Oh,
a
it
turtle
does.
shell.
It does kind of like the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. So this is a wire shank, wire loop shank, and this is an abalone dyed abalone button. That's kind of cool too.
Kind of goes with the.
Yeah, it does.
So,
All right, what you think, everybody? What
so
you
let
think?
me know what I should get. And then I just left mine kind of open because I think I'm going to put some Velcro or something because I'm going to stick the whole pillow for 'em.
Yeah, and that way easy to wash.
Put over and wash
Yeah,
it. So
like that.
that's what I've been up to.
Those are cute. So that's what she's been up to when she's away from here, but
Well, true.
in here, she's been very busy because she is responsible for finishing up our raglan blouse pattern and getting all the details and getting everything. This is our friend Dulcie's daughter, and Dulcie does a lot of garments online, and you'll see her in our fall ad in Classic Sewing Magazine too. So this is the cutest little girl, and
Everything she does is cute for her. Too.
Yes. So Michelle worked up a kit for this blouse right here, and that is, and what's that?
Out
Tell
of
me what
our
that's made
lilac
out of.
gingham, our fabric finders.
Mhm.
And I left these out so you could kind of see the trim. Such a pretty trim.
Yeah,
she
it's really
used.
cute.
Try to see it on Sally.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a little
so she
Venice
did it around
trim.
the collar and then around the hem.
Yeah.
So that's included with that kit. And then this was her little girl's favorite color, green. So
Aw.
we named it after her. Daylene's debut.
So this is called Salad Green, and this is Speckler Vogel Seersucker.
Seersucker, yeah.
Mhm.
This one's a seersucker. And she just used like the white piping around.
And then a self ruffle out of the fabric
Mhm.
for down here.
Mhm.
Isn't that cute? Oh my goodness.
So, really cute kits.
The pattern has been selling really well. I can't wait to see some of y'all model garments, some of your garments that you've made for your kids. Send us pictures. Send us pictures.
Yeah.
We love it.
And if you already have fabric, you can buy the pattern and
That's right.
make some out of your own fabric.
The pattern includes 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. And it's a hip length and a crop length version in here.
Yes, and we just, she did the hip length in both of these. But if you want to do the crop,
Yeah.
you can do the crop.
Yeah, that's cute. Cute. Well, what about that
So,
kit?
And then this
What? We
one.
have-
The green isn't crop with a ruffle at the bottom.
Oh, maybe it is cropped. Yeah, it just looks longer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
ruffle
right.
is a
With the
little bit
ruffles
That's
bigger.
right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So the lilac is the hip, And you could make either one. And then this is the crop version with the ruffle.
That is a pretty green.
Very pretty. I love seersucker. Speaking of seersucker, we have another one in seersucker. This is from our Bonnie Blue Ashley pattern, and it's View 3. So it has a little, what's that called? A little
like a
fold in the middle.
like a pleat, kind of like. If you went the other way, it'd be inverted, but then this has a little ruffle. Is it?
Right.
What's a ruffle out of?
It is out
Oh,
of
that's
this
out of that pretty eyelet.
pretty.
Oh, I like that.
So she did one on each side,
Oh, cute.
and then she did it all at the bottom.
So this seersucker, the picture online doesn't show it as cute as it really is in the fabric.
I know. I tried to do. I made another picture with the close up of
good.
the center because I noticed that, and I was like,
Because you can't tell online that it's that's so pretty. I gotta do this. How do I get rid of that? What do I do? There we go. I didn't turn my phone off. Whoops.
okay.
It'd be like going to church and your phone ringing. All those old people. Those old people do that. Whoops.
So that's
I love
the
that.
pretty
Okay, let's
pre-gathered.
go.
It's already pre-gathered, so you don't have to do that.
Yeah, everybody likes that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at
Yeah.
that.
And so you got it at the
Cute.
bottom, and then she has it in the center of the bodice.
Oh, she's got it at the bottom of the dress?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Cute.
Right there.
Nice. All right, so
So-
that's why the Ashley pattern's selling so great right now,
Mm-hmm.
because this is on there.
Oh yeah. I didn't even realize one of the versions had that little
that-
center.
Mm-hmm. It's called
So-
like a box pleat, right? Like a box pleat, and then you can tuck your trim underneath it. So I imagine it comes out from the edge of the fabric, and you sew down the center, and then you press it flat, and so then you have space underneath, you know, where it makes a box pleat.
Yeah, really cute. You just add a little ruffle to it, and it really stands out. So.
I love
I
it.
love the white piping too on the.
Oh yeah, that's true. She did do the piping on the inside edge.
Oh,
show you
between
that.
between the ruffle
Yeah,
and
and
the...
it really stands it out. And
It
she did
looks
at the
so good.
bottom too.
That one little thing
So-
adds so much.
Right. Oh, that's
So,
cute.
yeah.
That separates it.
So
I
she
love
did it
that.
at the top and the bottom.
Cute. That's
and
neat.
then it's just elastic in the back, so you don't have buttons or anything to have to put on this. So it should be pretty easy.
Speaking of elastic, we just got in a nice shipment of knitted elastic in the 1 inch at a good price. And so a knitted elastic, like that's an elastic that you can sew through, and it has great recovery, because when you pull it apart, you can see all the little holes. It looks kind of like graph paper or mesh or something
Can't you
like
cut
that.
knit elastic
Yeah,
too?
you could take that 1 inch and cut it in half or something like that, and make it, and it won't fray. Yeah. So the knitted, one of my favorites, the knitted elastic, and so we have a nice shipment of that in, and I don't have any out here, but
This
but
is
it's
called
good.
Summertime Swing.
cute.
Little swing skirt.
One thing that Catherine, again, bringing sewing back, was showing the back of a tennis dress, where it had elastic right here, and then the back was open, and it had a tie across the back. And she said sometimes it wants to droop, and the way to correct that, I thought this was a good tip, is to put a wider elastic. The pattern might have called for 3/8 inch or something. She changed it to a 1 inch, and that held it right up where it needed to go. So that was a great tip, and she showed the difference with it on her. It made a big difference. It was good. It was great.
Awesome.
So you had a question for me. You were asking me about a blind hem, and a blind hem is is a hem. It's a stitch on your sewing machine. I'm going to show you what it looks like, and it's like this is 1, 2, 3, 4 straight stitches and then a zigzag. 4 straight stitches and a zigzag. Now I did this one in white on the dark blue so that you could see it. And so I'm going to go to the overhead here. And let's get it. Can they? Yeah, you can see that.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that. So to use a blind hem, you first of all, like what I do, I go to the ironing board and I either serge, like I could have serged this raw edge of the hem, but instead I folded up about a 1/2 inch and pressed it under. And then, after I did that all the way across, go a little bit, then I pressed up. Actually, I did not measure this, so it's like maybe 2 inches or 2.5. I just eyeballed this and pressed it up, and inserted my pins parallel to the hem, but far enough down from up here so that when I sew my blind hem, it's not going to catch that pin in my sewing machine. And so there is a foot on my Bernina. It's the number 5 foot, and it has. Let's see if I can show.
Is it called a blind hem foot?
It is a blind hem foot. It is, and it has a plate in the center, so that when you're first of all, you can line up your fabric on this right next to this little plate, and then when you're sewing your straight stitch on there, it straight and zigzags over. It goes over the top of this little center plate, and it makes that. It gives that a little bit of ease in there, so that when you come back to iron it, it doesn't all pucker up your the outside of your fabric. So this is the way you do it. You have it pressed up, have it pinned with your pins parallel to the fold. Go back to your sewing machine, and you fold it back again like this. And so the stitching is actually done on the fold of the hem, and so you're stitching along like this, stitch, 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 and then it zigzags over a stitch. And you can actually adjust that zigzags, like if it's taken too much of a bite out of this fabric, depending on the thickness of your fabric, you can make that a little bit more narrow if you want to. Or if it's not touching, if it's not reaching this fabric, you can make it a little wider. Now I just did this just the way my machine was set up. So I'm stitching along, and it's so fast to hem it this way. Now on some really dressy things, I do hand hem. But anyway, I did this partly in the white so you could see, and then I came back and did it and sewed this in a dark color the same way. And once you iron it, I mean, once I pull that out, you can barely see. You can barely see a hem, and it's pretty stable. Now you can use an extra fine thread, and then that really will make it where you can't see the thread as much coming through. Of course, you can see it here because I used a contrasting thread. But can you imagine? I mean, I've had to thread a needle and then hand stitch each one. Would be there a long time. But
I've done that.
yeah, me too. But sometimes I just feel like it. But to be able to you spend a lot of time, more time at your ironing board, press up, you actually have to just finish that raw edge. You finish it either by serging or turning it under, and then pressing your hem in place. And the reason that you want your pins to run parallel to the hem is because when you turn it back like this and you're sewing along, no pin is going to get caught up in your sewing machine, and it skips it completely. If you get too close up here, you can stop here and pull the pin out as you're sewing. But That's just a real,
So you don't fold it even.
You don't fold it even. You fold it in maybe what, a quarter of an inch. So because you need to have enough space to run your that little plate has to line up with that fold, and that's how you keep it even. You just stitch along, and then it makes like a, every half inch or so it jogs over and takes a bite out of your garment fabric, and then you go back to the ironing board and press it, make it look nice and smooth.
Well, I'll have to see if I have one of those
I
feet at home.
I bet you do. I bet you have one.
I have a few pants I need to hem for
It'll
my
go
son.
very, very fast if you do it that way. So then, somebody was asking me about top stitching, and so I thought, well, they had a good question. When do you know when to top stitch? A lot of times you do it for decorative reasons. Sometimes you do it just because you want the edge. Is this
Lay
top
down.
stitch? Yeah. This is that top stitched? Maybe. Yeah. So yeah, you want it to lay down and make it nice and smooth. But also we do have this heavier thread. It's called coordinate.
It's thick.
Yeah, it is thick. So I put on a size 18 needle because I'm not sure that I could thread this coordinate through a smaller needle. So I used the 18 just so that I could get the thread through the hole. And so if you really want your thread to your top stitching to show up, you can use a heavier thread. Or you can use a contrast color, but sometimes you just want to hold it down. But you can it's still pretty when you do a little top stitch. It's still pretty. One time, I found a button I really loved. I do like buttons, and it was real pretty. It had I remember it had lots of colorful lines in it, and I made a linen dress and used those buttons, and I top stitched like 3 or 4 rows of top stitching in the same colors as those buttons. I thought it was pretty cool. I probably wasn't very cool, but I really liked it, and so then the thread really matters.
Well, could you use that for the decorative stitches on your machine, or you wouldn't?
I don't know. I know you have to be, like, I had to sew a little bit more slowly because this is heavy, and
I was just thinking if you wanted them to stand out some more, the decorative stitches, might want to try it.
You guys can tell us. You can tell us. But the other thing I wanted to show, because I've been thinking about this for a while, I don't always do this because I'm kind of a speed sewer, but where I started sewing with the top stitching and where I started top stitching and where I ended, this is how I do it a lot of times. I try and do it in a place where people can't really see it. I might just back stitch a couple of times, and it really is not very pretty to do it that way. But you can see, let's see.
Well, it's not pretty if it comes out either.
Well, no, but I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a way to make it. So here's the back stitched 2 or 3 times, and it's kind of clumpy. Let me see. Yeah, you can see where it's sort of clumpy looking, and so I do that if I'm in a hurry, and I really shouldn't do that. But down here, I was just going to show you this. If you leave your, and I could have come right up to here. I really should have done that. Come straight over all the way to the edge. But you can pull your top thread to the back by grabbing a hold of the bobbin thread. Let's see. Grab a hold of the bobbin thread, and it brings that loop back here like this. And I can do it here too. If I had done this right, they would have lined up perfectly. All right. I'm going to, so if I grab a hold of the bobbin thread, it pulls this loop to the back, and I'm pulling it back here like this. And then you can tie these two in a knot. And so then it's hidden. Make it a square knot so it won't come out. So, see that?
Nice.
So it's hidden back here. And I should have come all the way up to here, and then it would have looked like it was just a continuation. And so if you just grab a hold of your bobbin thread, you can pull that top loop to the back of your, let's say it's a collar or something. And then you don't end up with a big old clump of stuff. And also, when you do it this way and cut it, you always have a little piece sticking out, and it's like, that's kind of ugly, isn't it? And so, anyway, I actually do that sometimes, believe it or not. But I was going to show you this thing. When I was reading, I like to read what Clotilde does on things, and I thought this is the perfect time to tell you about this. So when you're top stitching and you come to a point, let's say the point in a collar like this, and so here's a point down here, and you have to make a turn, and this is more of a sharp turn. This is a 90 degree, but sometimes it gets caught up. It gets caught up in your machine, and it's so frustrating because then your bobbin thread gets all junky down under there. And the one thing that she showed is she takes a piece of a needle and thread and puts, I'm going to show up in here. She just runs it through that corner, and so you have something to hang on to. I'm going to come back here.
Good idea.
This is really simple to do. So you have this, you're sewing along your top stitching, but you have a thread tail, and you want to turn the corner, and guess what? You can adjust that or hang on to it, and then keep on sewing, and then you have some control. That was a good idea.
Yeah.
I hadn't had
I'm
a chance.
always getting out that little awl thing and trying to
because
hope I don't get a hole in my...
I didn't do that with this corner, and look, I have a messed up corner down here. That's where my top thread came down in there. I did this afterwards, which is really stupid, right? But I thought, oh, I can remember to show that. I need to remember to show that trick. I did love that.
Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one that has those kind of issues.
Yeah. But tying this, bringing your thread to the back and tying it back here makes a real pretty finish, because it looks like your thread just goes down and it's all taken care of, and it doesn't have this, on most of my things you'll find it looks like this because I haven't taken the time to pull it to the back, but I like it. Whenever I do it, I'm happy I did it. Yeah.
Well, it's very nice.
Thank
So going back to the blind hem,
Uh-huh.
Diane said that she's been using Invisifil thread, and she said it's strong and invisible.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a good idea. Invisifil. We carry that too, I think. Right?
I might need to add that to my
I know.
list.
Make a list. That's what somebody said. What are the new notions? I'm like, I don't know. What are the new notions? So
What you got next?
I have been, for the last couple months, wanting to make a little baby blanket for a family, and they live in France, and they were visiting the people that we stay in their pool home, and
Pretty.
they're having a daughter, and I thought, oh, I want to make something sweet, and so I had this. This is the Lino from Spain, right? And this has the little pink flowers and pink and aqua, and I had a piece of this. I know it's not a really very big blanket, but it's enough to cover her up in her little carriage or something like that. And so yesterday I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And But
you added the pink behind
I
it.
did put the pink behind
So
it.
pretty.
But I thought, what? I want to do something, just something pretty on here besides just the bunnies.
Mm-hmm.
And so we put this trim across the corner. Now, if I was really good, I could embroider her name, but I'm not good, so I'm I'm not gonna do that. But I
Well, I was going to start with the pockets because they're a separate piece, and I was like, hey, I could cut more if I mess up.
right. So I think it's sweet with I use pink Pima Cotton Batiste on the back.
Mm-hmm.
And so it shows up as kind of a pink blanket.
Pink cast.
Pink
yeah.
cast.
Mm-hmm.
And then use pink
Ribbon.
What I was going to say, it's 4 millimeter,
Mm-hmm.
which is 1/8 of an inch, fits through this beading. So I'll show you what I did. So I had this, so I'm always looking around, I'm working with a piece of something I found, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's a piece of beading. It has the seam allowances on it. It's just got a pretty little embroidery in the center. And then little tiny Swiss edging, just a little scallopy part. Well, I know it's probably because I can't see very well that I had a hard time figuring out what was the right and the wrong side. So when I finally figured it out,
Hey, I do that too.
I wrote right side on each one of these because like
I was wondering what all them little marks
yes,
were for.
I
Okay.
spend so much time looking at it like this, you know, and anyway, so once I figured it out, I wrote R on each one of these. So I'm gonna go to the overhead. I thought, all right, how can I do this? So I just wanted to make a just to go across the corner because I had a little piece.
Yeah,
So
how do you do that?
what I
Haven't done that yet.
did was to put right sides together, and you see this entredot on here is actually larger than this entredot, and that didn't matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I lined them up where you can see through the holes,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see I just lined the entredot right on top of each other, and then went to the sewing machine with a real fine thread like DMC 50 weight, and I stitched right next to the entredot through both layers.
Mm-hmm.
Right next to it, I kept the holes where I could see through both layers and stitched right next to it.
Did you pin it or you just kind of
No.
held it?
I held it. I was in a hurry.
You're good.
I mean, it wasn't perfect, let me tell you. So then, has a nice stitch holding that together. Then I went back to the ironing board,
Pretty.
and look at that. Isn't that sweet?
Mm-hmm.
So I ironed it under. Let's see. Yeah. Ironed it under because these kind of lined up. And then it looked like a little scallopy thing, just like on this bunny stuff. This little
Mhm.
scallopy edge on this lino here.
Pretty.
That's cute. And so you need twice as much of this edging as you have on the beading because you want to go both sides.
Did you run embroidery thread through it?
No, I ran. I just put a ribbon in it. I could have done that, couldn't I? I should have. Anyway, so that after I sewed this together, I trimmed it a little bit, like to maybe, I don't know. I trimmed off 1/8 of an inch,
Mm-hmm.
so it didn't overlap in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I did it on both sides, and then I got my. I'll show you. Well, actually, I folded it down like this first. I
Mhm.
eyeballed everything
Mm-hmm.
and made sure that edge was going straight down one of these lines.
Wow.
And then saw my fold,
Mhm.
came back here and took my blue marker
Mm-hmm.
and drew a line.
Mm-hmm.
And by then I had both sides of this, and it's all pressed. Oh, and before I sewed it on here, I ran that pink ribbon right through this beading, and then had it up to the edge.
Would have been a little tricky afterwards.
Yeah, it would have been hard because I really wanted it to go in the seam,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't decide Should I run it from both directions and have it tie in the middle?
Oh.
We can always add a bow,
Yeah,
right?
you can just add it in
Yeah.
the middle.
Yeah. Then I took my sewn line glue pen and I glued it down,
Put it down.
and then just came back and sewed right through using that 50 weight DMC thread.
Mm-hmm.
I sewed right through that little tiny entredot. You can't even see, can you? It just disappears.
Barely. I
Yeah.
didn't even know till you
Yeah.
said something. I'm like,
Sewed
oh.
right through, right through here, and it holds it down.
All right, now I can try it.
Yep. So then I sewed the back, right sides together, the back to the front,
Mm-hmm.
left a little opening, and turned it right side out and pressed it. So
Very pretty.
would you put a little bow?
Yes,
It'd be
I
cute,
would
wouldn't
put a
it?
bow.
It needs a bow.
I like the bow.
I do too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I thought, yeah, I like bows.
So
Should
just
go
add
right
a
in the
bow
center,
when you're
right?
done,
I'm
right?
done. Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been wanting to do this for like 2 months.
Yay.
That's sweet.
Finally, I like it. I have another little piece. I should make my granddaughter.
We have this in the yellow too, don't we?
We do. I could make Rosemary in Australia a doll blanket out of the pieces left. Wouldn't that be
She
cute?
likes dolls.
She does. Yeah,
Mhm.
she does.
Sweet.
So
I like it. So
that's
there's
that.
baby gifts.
That's that. The baby gift is done. Does it take? Is it hard for you to get motivated sometimes? Sometimes it's hard for me to.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I need to be in the mood.
But you have so much going on because you still have kids at home.
Mm-hmm.
But
And sometimes I feel guilty after I leave here if I'm up there in my sewing room all night.
Oh.
So I don't do it as often as I want. But I try to make use of my time when they're doing stuff.
Mhm.
I just go up there and do my thing.
So, has your son left for his mission trip yet?
Not yet. He
It'll
just
be-
got his itinerary for the plane, and so he starts at home June 24th, and then on July 4th, I take him to Augusta to fly to Mexico City, train him for 4 weeks for Spanish speaking, and then he goes to California till June of 2026.
Ooh.
He's in the U.S., so
Yeah,
that'll be
that's
good.
right. That's right. So in our newsletter, and also our question was, and I don't know what made me think about this. We got in this Houndstooth fabric, and I thought, well, how did Houndstooth get its name anyway? And I mean, that's how it's like whatever I'm thinking about, that's what I'm writing about.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it is because, and 2 or 3 people said, because the shape of it is like the shape of the jagged shape of a hound's tooth in the back. Isn't that wild? So the history of it was used by commoners that didn't have a clan. They weren't royalty. Look at this wild picture, because it's not used by commoners anymore. It's like haute couture.
Houndstooth and puppy tooth.
Yeah, houndstooth and puppy tooth. But it was known as dog's tooth, and they were like once back in the 1930s when the Prince of Wales started wearing it, they were like, we have to come up with a classier name because we don't want to call it dog's tooth if he's wearing dog's tooth. And so somebody came up with houndstooth, and I really never even ever associated it with a tooth until I looked it up. Isn't that crazy?
I never would have thought that.
I know. So here's the princess wearing red.
That is the biggest houndstooth I've ever seen.
Isn't that something? She's pretty.
I've never seen
It's
it
in
quite
shoes, and then Bear Bryant from Alabama was known for his houndstooth hat, and and it said that University of Alabama tried to get it to be their, I guess to make it their symbol or something, and they've never been allowed to do that because it's so, it's been here for so long. Yeah. So, anyway, I think it's interesting, and we did get in.
Is that a bag? Bag in there too?
Oh yeah, the bag
Yeah.
by Christian Dior. Yeah, we did get in We've had this size, so this may be Houndstooth,
Mm-hmm.
but the little one we just got in, maybe that one's called Puppy's Tooth. I don't know. But anyway, it's a really classy fabric.
Pretty.
And they're making it in other colors too, but the black and white is probably the most classic, right? It's kind of fun. It's fun to read about some of these things. I thought, well, this is going to be a really easy thing to read about and write some little blurb about, and then all of a sudden I'm like printing up all this stuff. Man, there's always more to it than I expected there to be. All right. All right. So, how's everybody doing? Any questions? No
They're
questions.
good.
Oh dear. Does that mean we're putting them to sleep?
Well, actually, Jeanette did have a question, and she was wondering what type of thread to use if she's using her machine for decorative stitches.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I was wondering too. So me and Jeanette are going to have to play around and get back with you.
People use different threads because I know that they use sulky thread, which is a rayon thread, and that's got shine to it. And then, you can use different weights of thread.
Well, that's why I was wondering if this thread
I wonder.
would bring out flowers more,
Maybe.
know, when they have
You'll
the
have to
flowers.
play with it and see. I'm curious too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So if any of you know, you can chime in.
That's right. So next week,
Oh yeah.
Emma and Lila will be back, and so when they
Gonna
left,
love it.
so we were adding tiers to her blouse, and so she wanted it long, and so I haven't hemmed it yet. I guess I'll do the blind hem on there.
Are you?
Maybe not. Maybe I just do. I mean, I'm not going to hem it this deep. I'm going to cut some off,
Mm-hmm.
but I can just do a little turned up hem. I don't know. But I still have to serge this inside of these seams, and she wants a trim on it, and so
Are we going with the same one she picked,
Well,
or you have a different one?
let's see what people think here. I'm going to show you this. Ooh, because she picked this one, but we only have this little piece, and this is kind of neat because kind of I like the tone of it with it, but this is kind of, what do you think of that? That's pretty, isn't it?
That's so elegant. I like it.
Yeah, so this is a loopy-loop trim with a little picots, and I think this is going to be it. I still have to line.
like it
I
here,
still have
too?
to line it, which I think we
Well, I don't
decided
know.
not to do
Oh,
that.
you're
I
not
think
gonna
we're
do
just
that?
going to go around the
Okay.
tiers. This tier in each tier, and then the lining will go to the knee, to the top of the bottom tier will be the lining, because no need to have lining all the way down and make it so heavy. And I know when she tried this on, the neck was just a little snug on her. This pattern is actually the 90-minute pinafore pattern, and so here it is fitting the big girls, which is amazing. But it goes to a 14. I'm gonna have to top stitch this.
What
to
size
keep,
is this?
This is a 14. I need to put the buttons on here and then line it, hem it, and it's close to being done. But I was able to pull the lining up from the inside and sew a little bit bigger seam around the neck to give her just a little bit more neck room, which I think she needed.
Nice.
So anyway,
This is so pretty.
the girls haven't been here this week. They've been at the beach with their other grandparents, and I thought all week, well, I'll have them done. And
You getting there?
I think Saturday will be a good sewing day, right? I think so too. Somebody asked to see, Christy and I have been going through all these clothes hanging here, and said, what are we going to do with these clothes? Well, this was a vintage pattern that I tried, and I remember when I tried it, I thought, oh, I don't like this. I don't like it to the waist with a tiered skirt. And guess what? Now I like it to the waist with a tiered skirt. That's how your ideas
Time
change.
changes.
Yeah, it does. So this only needs buttons and a hem. And
Is this
somebody,
a blind stitch?
I actually
Or
did
just
I hand
hand
stitched that.
stitch?
Can you believe that? I
Yep.
actually hand stitched that. Goodness. Yeah, this this could be cute. I mean, I really probably would have almost thrown it out because I thought, oh, I don't really like that.
That's adorable.
But isn't
I
that
think
cute?
it's so cute.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I do have grandkids that could probably wear this.
Yeah.
Like Farron probably could wear
Farron
this.
would be so
Farron
cute.
would be cute.
Yeah.
So there's one dress I need to finish up. And then this,
Just in time for the beach.
I know. So this is the little flamingo fabric, and this is a pattern by Sally Goodwin from a long, long time ago. And I'm trying to think what she named her sundress. It's a sundress pattern. Looks very much like Katina by Children's Corner.
The
But-
garden pin dot.
Yeah, it's garden pin dot piping, and then so here I sit. It's all done except I haven't stitched the facings down and I haven't hemmed it. So
That'll take you no
that
time.
so that would be a good job this weekend, right?
You'll feel so accomplished when you get all them done.
Sally, any chance you remember that vintage pattern?
I might, maybe I can find
Maybe
it.
we can find it.
Maybe
Okay.
I can find it. Somebody asking about that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. So this, I made this little dress, and I piped it in
Cute.
whatever this, is that a Liberty? That's
I
a
think
Liberty.
so.
And for some reason, I just didn't like it. When I got it this far, it looks too square to me. But now I'm thinking, I put a hem in that and some buttons. June could wear this. Wouldn't that be
color
cute?
would
Is that
be
the
adorable
front?
on June.
Yeah,
Or
this
the
is the
back?
front.
No.
Yeah, this is
That
the front.
is?
Yep.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
See this?
because of
It's
the
like
neckline. Okay.
the Primrose Lane.
I
That's
bet we don't
pretty.
have that Liberty anymore. Covered buttons would be cute with that piping.
Oh man, no
Oh
kidding.
yeah, that
adorable.
would be.
And I'd have to do covered buttons. But it would be very cute with this piping. I probably have a scrap of this fabric
Somewhere.
buried over it by my sewing
Let's
machine.
go dig under your table after this.
Yeah, that's probably where it is. But this is PK, and this is a little Swiss edging in ivory that I made a double ruffle. And I don't know, when I got it this far, I'm like, that looks too squarish. And so I hung it up.
You
and,
looking at it too close.
well, just like you do with your
Yeah.
things. Anyway, I think if I put buttons on this and a hem, nobody's going to care if it looks squarish, right? And I think it's wearable.
That's
It's
the way we
wearable.
had to do, like when
Right.
college doing art or graphics. We'd have to step back away because you'd be too close to it and then look at
Right.
it.
Now this is a Swiss fabric, and this was a Jilly Atlanta pattern that was in Classic Sewing magazine. And so I really don't enjoy putting buttons and loops on things. And so here we are, completely done, except for buttons and loops.
Is this the rack of what you don't like to do?
Yeah, maybe it is. And I thought if I ever do this again, I would extend this so that I'd rather do buttonholes and buttons and buttonholes. But how cute is that? That's a little top.
It's very cute.
Yeah.
Come on, Sally.
All right. So maybe
Is that too small for Andy? That's
I
probably
think
too
I
small
think it
for
is.
Andy.
I think it is. And then
Not too long.
is
for
it too
Farron.
long for Farron as a top? I mean, she could put little leggings or shorts under it and wear it.
Be
Yeah.
cute with little
Yeah.
leggings under it.
Now this dress, Regina made this dress, and she made it for Lila, and Lila absolutely loved it. This is the one Regina's shown before, where she did double needle pin tucks on every other stripe here, and it just
No,
gave it some
not gonna do
texture.
that.
But anyway, this could fit Farron right now, but Lila wore this so much that she ripped the button right off of this. I mean, it was.
I was gonna say, I'm
yeah.
surprised Regina didn't finish the
No,
button on there.
Regina finishes everything. Regina brings it finished. But I've got to sew a little patch on here and sew the button on, and then we're back in the wearing column, because this is cute. Lila loved this dress. I remember she went to a little
Aw.
tea party that her friend gave, and she was dressed in this. I think because look at that cute little back,
Pretty,
you know.
microchip.
Yeah.
Pretty.
They're really sweet. And so Regina top stitched this collar. That's top stitched. So we have lots more of garments here that need the finishing touch, but
Just make you go.
if
Do
I
a few a week.
I
You
was going to
haven't
try
done.
and do one a week,
Oh,
and I didn't even get
Okay.
that far since January. But the other week I did maybe 4 or 5 of them. So anyway, so here we are. We appreciate you joining us today. Did we cover everything?
We do have a quick question.
Oh, okay.
G asked, are you using any interlining in those pretty hems?
Interlining in which hems?
I wonder.
Like
she
the
didn't say it's
like
specific, but maybe
like
those.
this one. Probably I won't do it there. Yeah. I do use interlining on a lot of things, but a lot of times I'll use it on the bodice, especially. But on
so
that
vote,
one,
vote on my buttons. I need it.
oh
'cause
yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta
What
do
do you
that
think about the buttons?
on the way to the beach tomorrow. I gotta make use of my time. So
Okay.
So
y'all let me
Adrian
know.
said she liked the shiny abalone button.
that one,
Andrea Birkin?
Adrian.
Adrian. Okay.
one for that. What about the other one? I keep wanting to do it that way. I don't know why.
So this one, let's hold it up. I'll hold this up, and you hold up those 2 buttons. All right. Can you see them?
The light or the darker?
Any votes? Light or
Hadn't
dark?
heard yet. So someone asked what pattern was that. So if it's the beach border dress, that's Simple Life Patterns Molly.
Yes, that's
Mhm.
right. Simple Life Patterns Molly. I used that pattern to make that. I was looking to see where that beach dress was. With the netting, the beautiful embroidered netting on the bottom, and I made the top out of a ivory knit, and I didn't put any closure on it at all. And I attached the netting fabric with a embroidered border and made all the girls a beach dress. Oh, man, that was pretty.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty.
Very
And
pretty.
so the skirts were lined, and the bodice was like a double layer of the knit because some of my girls were getting more grown up. Did you get a vote?
You ready
Have
for
an
me to?
overwhelming majority for the darker button.
The darker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh,
See.
All
that's
right.
interesting. How about that?
All right. I'm
Okay.
going with lighting it. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
My favorite on here is this turtle guy.
I
but
like that one
that's
too.
cute. Well, you can tell them that you're going
I
to
could
go
do
with
one side that and one side the
Oh,
other.
no, you can do that. Absolutely. Same with the other one.
Yeah.
There you
Maybe
go.
I will.
There you go.
You can switch which side you like.
All right, you guys, let's have a drawing. Let's have a drawing and see what we can see. Emma and I had a couple of older magazines, Creative Needle and So Beautiful, and then here's the puppy. Here's the puppy tooth. The puppy
Yeah.
tooth and the dog's tooth. And so that's enough to make any kind of thing. Several of you mentioned that you would take the smaller, and that would be very cute in a little boy's John John.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
I
yeah.
think really classy looking. You're right about that. All right. So thanks for joining us, and we're going to see who the winner is. You want to draw?
I like this little heart emoji. Daphne Loudermilk. I haven't worked with Houndstooth. Have always loved it though. I do not know the history, so I'm off to read the newsletter. So happy for you on the beginning of construction.
Yeah, that's fun.
Anything you do on a show will be great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right. So that is Daphne Loudermilk. And yeah, they've been really busy on our house this week. And my son tells me at least a year from now we might be in it. I told him, can't you just finish my sewing room and let me move in there? He said it doesn't work that way. So
We can expedite it for you.
yeah, I feel like he is. But anyway, we're happy. It's happening. It's moving along. Thank you so much for joining us. And I think Regina will be back next week with us.
Woohoo!
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.
Oh, I forgot to say Shell Cherie.
Oh.